Yeah,
Yes, sir.
okay. Because because somebody is waiting in the lobby. I just tried him to admit, but it is showing that his action is failed. So I thought network problem is there. Maybe the network problem with that person. I think so. Okay, fine. So the performance of the optical detector can be determined by its ability to detect the smallest optical power to generate the electric power with an absolute distortion. So absolute distortion means there is no distortion. Fine, if there is no distortion. So what if the performance of the optical detector we need to find out? On what basis we find out is we find this particular performance based on one particular factor. What is the particular factor? The factor is very simple. The factor is how much the ability of the device which can detect the smallest possible optical signal. Particular after detecting that we need to convert into the electrical power. That is what exactly the thing. So that indicates the performance of the optical detector, a photo detector. So next thing is what some of the photo detector parameters. The first one is what responsivity. So it is a ratio of electrical power to the detector output optical power. So how much optical power is being received? Out of the received optical power, how much it has been converted into electrical signal. So that is what exactly the meaning of responsivity. So the responsivity represents the sensitivity of the photodetector. The function of photodetector is to convert the optical signal into electrical signal. So when the incident on semiconductor material has energy greater than the bandgap energy, then an electron is generated at each time semiconductor. So as I told you, when you want to generate the energy, so once we incident the photon, it will be absorbed by the semiconductor. Once it is absorbed by the semiconductor, so it will excite to the higher state and it will come back to the lower state by emitting the photon. If the higher state atom absorbs the photon, so due to the formation of kinetic energy, it will emit the equal energy and it will come back to the previous state. Okay, so in either way it is going to happen. So once it is coming back from higher energy level to lower energy level, it is going to emit the photon. Once it is going to emit the photon, so obviously what happens? Obviously the generation of photon and generation of light is going to happen. So more photons strike the photodetector, more charge carriers will be produced. The Faraday's current is directly proportional to incident optical power Pm. The more photons strike the photodetector, more charge carriers will be produced. It's a very simple thing. That is, photocurrent is directly proportional to the incident optical power. So please make a note of it. Responsivity, the meaning of responsivity. So please make a note of it. The meaning of sensitivity. Next concept is quantum efficiency. So quantum efficiency is defined as the fraction of electrons collected to the number of incident photons. So quantum efficiency states that it is defined as fraction of electrons collected to the number of incident photons. So now the meaning is very clear. Quantum efficiency. Quantum means what? Light. So how much incident photon? Photon means what? Photon represents the light. Electrons represents the current. So how many photons we incident and how much electrons have been generated? So I can say that how much current, how much light is been imposed and how much current is generated. So in either way it is correct. So how much current is being generated, or how much what is the fraction of electrons which are collected to the number of incident photons. So that gives an idea that quantum efficiency. So it is defined as a fraction of incident photons which are observed by photodetector and generate electrons which are collected at terminal. It is defined as a fraction of incident photons which are absorbed by photodetector and generate the electrons which are collected at the detector terminal. So all, please make a note. See why I am giving time, because you people one or two sentences related to that one. That's why I am giving time. All the incident photons are not absorbed to generate the electron hole pair. Therefore, quantum efficiency is generally less than 1. Okay, quantum efficiency is generally less than 1. So why? Because if the quantum efficiency should be 1 means 100%. So 1 represents 100%. If there is no 100% concept, so obviously, so whatever the, how much ever the light is incident, so the correspondingly the same this thing will not happen. Okay, same whatever what you call for that 100% photons have been imposed, 100% generation of electrons will not be there. That is why quantum efficiency will be generally less than 1. So it depends on absorption coefficient of semiconductor used within the photodetector. So here it depends on the absorption efficient of the semiconductor used with the photodetector. See, when the photon need to be converted into electrons, it has to be absorbed by the semiconductor. So if the semiconductor is good and if it is efficient, then generation of light, generation of electrons will also be good. If the absorption coefficient of a semiconductor is less, then how much ever photons you incident, that much generation will not happen. Okay, that is what exactly the problem. So quantum efficiency equal to number of electrons divided by photons. So that is what exactly the meaning. The quantum efficiency, number of electrons divided by photons. So for that is the maximum count. Number of electrons is generated count out of the maximum. So obviously it will give the ratio in terms of the quantum efficiency. So some of the photodetector parameters, it is like a dark current. So the amount of current generated by the detector with no light applied. So dark current, the amount of current generated by the detector with no light applied is called as what? Dark current. See here what happens, sometimes when we don't apply any light, okay, when we don't apply any signal, when you don't apply anything, still some amount of current will be generated. So that particular generation, if it is happening, okay, that is generation is happening, that particular current is called as what? Dark current we say. Okay, it is called as dark current we say. So a dark current increases about 10% of the 10% for each temperature increasing by 1 degree Celsius. So if the temperature of the semiconductor is going to 1 degree high, so dark current is increased by 10%. So and is much prominent in germanium and indium gallium arsenide, because in semiconductors what happens, so when the current is been given, okay, so temperature is been increased. So when the temperature is increases, the movement of electrons and holes will be very much high. So that is why it will produce the dark current. Okay, so that is what exactly the meaning. Dark current increases by 10% for each temperature increase of 1 degree Celsius, and is much prominent in germanium and indium gallium arsenide. So at longer wavelength than the silica at shorter wavelength. So gallium indium arsenide will be used at longer wavelength. So silicon will be used for shorter wavelength. Okay, so dark current is a comparison they have given. Okay, so that's all about the dark current. So when you're talking about the noise flow, somebody is coming now, G1SU. So noise floor, the minimum detector power that a detector can handle. So it's called as what? Minimum detector power that a detector can handle is called as what? Noise floor. The noise floor is related to the dark current, since the dark current will set the lower limit. So minimum detector power that a detector can handle. So the noise floor is related to the dark current, since the dark current will set the lower limit, because even though we don't apply anything, so some amount of electricity is generated, that is called as dark current. So that is called as lower limit. So from that particular lower limit only we need to go and we need to calculate the remaining thing. So here the minimum detector power that detector can handle. So that means what, when you are talking about the detector, okay. So if we produce a detector, so we will specify that it can detect this much less amount also. So that particular thing is called minimum detector power that can a detector can handle. So the noise flow related to the dark current, since the dark current will set the minimum lower limit. When you're talking about response time, it is the time required for a detector to respond to an optical input. So that is called what response time. This is very, very simple definitions. So response time, it is a time required for the detector to respond to a optical input. So the response time is related to the buffer 30. So if the bandwidth equals 0.3 divided by TR, where TR is the rise time of the device, where TR is the rise time of the device. The response time is related to the bandwidth of the detector, bandwidth equal to 0.35 divided by TR, where TR is the rise time of the device. The rise time is the time required for the detector to rise to a value equal to 63.2% of state reading. So here 63.2%, we always say that 1/3. So the rise time is the time required for a detector to rise to a value. So I'm out of 100%, if it is reaching the 63%, okay. So we say that it is the rise time. So we are achieving the required signal. That is what exactly the mean. The rise time is the time required for the detector to rise to a value equal to 63.2% of its final steady state reading. Final steady state Please make a note of it, all of you. So once you complete that one, we will go for the pin diode. Okay. So it is not like a PIN diode, pin diode. So it is like a photon. Okay. Intrinsic layer, photon and ionization layer, and neutron. Sorry, p-type semiconductor. Here you can see that ionization is taken by I, and n-type is n-type semiconductor, PIN photodiode. So your construction it is something like pin diode consists of p and n region separated by a very lightly doped intrinsic region I. So intrinsic in this particular intrinsic region only ionization is going to takes place. So pin photodiode consists of a p and n region separated by a very lightly doped intrinsic region. So the intrinsic region has only a small amount of dopant and act as a wide depletion region. Okay, that consists of P and N region separated by a very lightly doped intrinsic region. So the intrinsic region has only a very small amount of dopant and act as a wide depletion region. So your principle of operation when you're talking about so you're talking about operation. Okay, so before that, please make a note of this particular diagram, all of you. So in the photodiode, it will be like a P and N region separated by the intrinsic semiconductor I. So p-type will produce the positive charge and n-type will produce the negative charge. Okay. So between the p and n-type in the intrinsic region, this is going to happen. So now when you're talking about this particular connection, after that we will like in the bias we have taken the reverse bias. Okay. So p is connected to the n-type and n is connected to the p-type. So you can see that p-type is positive. So okay, the negative terminal is connected to the p-type semiconductor material and positive terminal is connected to the n-type. So when we do the connection like this, obviously, so it is a reverse bias condition. When you are talking about reverse bias condition, you can see that the holes, so which are present in the p-type and in the intrinsic semiconductor region are also trying to move away from the p-type and they are trying to reach the terminal. So here also electrons will go and reach the positive terminal. So when this particular things are happening, so we are incidenting the light. Okay. So in the incidenting the photon, okay. So obviously, so whatever the current is, whatever the photons are passing in the semiconductor, so that particular current will be recognized by the load resistor. So that particular load resistor current will be taken So you can see this one. Please make a note of this particular diagram, all of you. So now seeing the principle of working, so when a photon falls on intrinsic layer, gives up energy to the electrons present in the valence band. This in turn create a electron hole pair called photocarriers, so which are collected across the reverse biased junction. This in turn create a electron hole pair called photocarriers, which are collected across the reverse biased junction. So this is what exactly I told you. So this is the reverse bias condition now. Okay, so reverse bias junction. So when we do the reverse bias condition or we have reverse bias junction, so whatever the photon is incidented, that will cause the electrons from the valence band to move to the conduction band. When that particular thing happens, corresponding how much electron is being moved from valence band to conduction band, that much amount of electricity will be produced, that much current will be produced. So that particular produced current will be taken as the output. So next thing is what photo detection principle. Okay. So here photo detection principle, I can see this particular diagram. This also you need to take it out. So please note it down the diagram. So here in the topmost layer, we can see that the previous diagram only. So device layer structure will be there. So here bias voltage usually needed to fully deplete the intrinsic high region for the high speed operation. So your band diagram. So when you're talking about the device layer structure, it's fine. So with the same thing when you're talking about the band diagram, okay, the band diagram showing carrier movement in E field. So your energy gap will be there from the conduction band to the valence band. So obviously the top is the conduction band and the bottom is valence band. So when the h nu is, that is the photon is incident on the valence band, it will make the electron to move from valence band to conduction band. So it is going to. So when this thing is happening, current will be produced. So in the third diagram, you can see that the light intensity as a function of distance below the surface. So light intensity as a function of distance below the surface. So that particular thing you can able to see. So depletion region, as you all know that if the P and N junctions are there, P and N type semiconductors are there, between them, whatever the region is present, that is called as what depletion layer. So your carriers absorbed here must diffuse to the intrinsic layer before they recombine. So if they are contribute to the photocurrent, so slow diffusion can lead to the slow tails in the temporal responses. So please make a note of this particular diagram, all of you.